Are we all braced?
I'm braced.
Yeah. Brace. Here we go.
I'm braced.
I assume everyone else is standing up and saluting.
Of course.
Yeah,
I would, but Heather's eating, so...
I have my hand on my phone.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Bit of a dirge, isn't it?
It's Coronation weekend, everyone.
Was that like usually stop?
Well, I suppose there's only a bar left. God save the King. Brilliant.
Well, will we be ending the recording with Rule Britannia?
Already got it queued up.
I was hoping it might be the Marseillaise, but we'll take what we can get.
He's hoping a good player of Scotland.
Very good. So this is the special for the coronation of King Charles III.
I'd just like to say how absolutely disgusting I find the monarchy, and I hope for their abolition as soon as possible.
Yep, good stuff.
Do you know,
Glad you got that off your chest.
Yeah.
Used to, and then I was listening to a podcast in which, so it's got Rory Stewart and Alistair Campbell.
Oh yeah,
and
another one.
Rory Stewart pointed out that if we had an elected president, we'd probably elect Boris Johnson or someone like that. So... might actually be better not to give people the choice because they make poor decisions. So, you know, I'm all for democracy, but...
Those can't be the only options.
I'd like to do a good on the other hand, which is Boris Johnson we kicked out after like 2 years rather than until he dies in like 30 or 40 years. And I believe, is the main thing that elected heads of state have over monarchs.
That's quite
yes,
good.
We don't always get it right, but it's not forever if it's an election.
That's a good system. Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
I find democracy cultural Greek appropriation.
Oh, you're right. It's not ours to implement, is it?
It's part of the drollery of the Greeks.
Exactly. Yeah, so this Saturday, I intend to release this podcast on the Saturday, so maybe once people are done watching His Majesty being crowned at Westminster Abbey, they'll have a little listen to this. For this film, we all picked two possible coronation films, and I was astonished that I got away with us picking my one, which was Cromwell 1970.
Can't believe it either.
I really didn't see that happening, and I'm delighted it did.
What was your other option again? Did anyone?
My other option was Johnny English,
That was
which
it,
I really
yeah.
thought people would go for.
Yeah, that would be good. But I'm thrilled that we watched Cromwell. I'd never heard of it.
Well, I thought it would be an appropriately what's the word? Subversive approach to the monarchy to have the story of the only king in 1,000 years who's been beheaded.
Well, I thought it was going to be about Thomas Cromwell, so I was quite confused.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I already distracted you there. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But no, it was Oliver Cromwell.
Oh.
Fernando, what did you know about the story of Oliver Cromwell before this? Because I know you're not being British, you might not have been taught all about it as we were.
Yes, I knew nothing about it, hence I voted for it. Otherwise, I would have not voted for it.
Excellent stuff. How did it make you feel? Did you feel it was a fitting Coronation Day film for us to watch?
No, we should just stop this. What are we doing?
Did you think it was a bit treasonous?
Yes, it's true. We are going to be hanged.
I'm going to tell them it was Laura's idea.
Oh,
Because it was.
Hey, I thought that was funny.
Oh yeah, sounds like it. Hi Heather. How did you like the film, Claire?
I think it could have been a good film, but there was a good story in there.
Yep.
It's just a shame that they made it
About
that
the
way.
directors, the script, and all of the actors, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from that, pretty good, really.
Laura?
I think you can see why I liked it.
Did you get a nice giggle out of it?
I did. I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it. Have any of you seen it before? I know, Fernando, you've not.
I've seen it before. I saw it on like Channel 5 sort of 20 years ago, and I also got the DVD once to rent it. And I remembered it being a lot better than this. I remembered it being like this brilliant, like bioepic, if I may, with loads of sort of subtle acting and really like thoughtful stuff that really teaches you loads of great stuff. And yeah, watching it now, I was not blown away by the elegance and intelligence of how it was done. But that said, I think all in all, there were some good parts of it, and I'm going to say it was a good film, despite everything. So that's my position going into this, and I don't know if I'm going to have to fight this in the same way I did with the last special, which was 12 Dates of Christmas. Fernando, if you could put aside your objection to the treasonous nature of the choice, did you think this was a good film?
I'm putting aside all my negative thoughts about it, and I think that it's objectively a really good film. I thought it was great. In fact, I was thinking it was great until the end. I was like, what is this?
Until the king got killed.
Yeah, I did not see it coming. I thought it was great. I greatly enjoyed it, and I do think it's a great film.
Oh, great. Oh, I'm glad. Oh, yeah. That's two of us going for it then.
That's nice.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, what I liked about it was it was pretty hard on the sort of history. It was kind of a big history lesson, wasn't it? It was like they'd read their history textbook and been like, oh, so it looks like in 1751 this happened. Let's just make a scene where that thing happens, and then let's go to the next scene. And that I found surprisingly engaging. And I loved all of the soliloquies.
Yeah, so many of them.
It was very stagey, wasn't it?
It was so stagey.
Yes, I think that's why I liked it so much. Acting, the shots, yeah.
Talk to us about the acting, Laura, because I've got something particular to say about the acting.
I mean, can't fault it. It was incredible acting.
You don't think parts of it might have been just a tiny, titchy, weeny little bit overblown?
I do not. No, I don't think it was over. I think it was. We saw Richard Harris doing some acting with a capital A.
Yes. He was truly treading the boards, wasn't he?
They were acting as hard as possible.
Like that's their job. Yeah. Got to act.
I read that he was this was in the period of time where Richard Harris was just like big alcoholic and really was drunk several times.
Oh set. Christ! Well, it comes across. He's a real portrait of a man losing his mind, right?
Yeah.
Oh God! So that was method acting.
Yeah. Apparently, he was like just in such a space where he woke up like super out of it, drunk, and he telephoned the director at like 4 a.m. saying, "We've got to give him another chance." He thought they were actually going to behead the king.
Oh my God! Oh, that's dark.
Yeah.
Wow. And we've all had like a rough night's sleep when we're ill or something, and you wake up kind of thinking that the thing you were watching on TV is real, or thinking your dream was real. But yeah, Jesus. I had no idea of that. I gotta watch it again.
I still think he was great. Oh no, don't worry. It's cute little snuffling in the background.
Yeah.
Also, so I watched this in 2 parts, I have to admit.
Okay.
So I watched the first half and then I put it down for a bit because I thought, well, I could do with a little break. And then Kira said, why don't we have afternoon tea at the National Portrait Gallery?
Yeah.
I think I must be the only person in the world who's ever gone to a portrait gallery and had the ending to a film spoiled. Total massive 7-foot painting of Charles I being beheaded. And I was like, oh, okay.
Excellent. This was going to be my next question is, like, did we all know what was going to happen? And I asked Claire while we were in the film, like, do you know what was going to happen here? And she said, no, I don't really know. And Fernando, you didn't know. So did you think he was going to get away with it? When did you realise he was actually going to...
Well, until he was beheaded, I was like, when is the monarchy going to win?
Yeah. Were you expecting Robin Hood to burst out of the crowd and shoot the executioner and ride away with him on a horse?
Yes.
Yeah, so this was a film about the opposite of a coronation, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that would be...
Well, we'll see what happens on Saturday, won't we?
An appropriately sobering note. Oh, yes, no. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? That's quite exciting, then, that you all didn't know he was going to get killed.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah, that's... Did you know that there was an interregnum? There was a period where there was no king?
Nope.
Right. Yeah.
I've read it on Wikipedia now. Excellent.
Oh, so everyone learned something then. That's good.
Yeah. The only thing I really knew about Cromwell was Ireland.
Yeah. He didn't get on well with the Irish.
No, he didn't.
This is something people forget, though. There was a gaffe a few years ago. There was like an Irish ambassador was invited to the House of Commons or something, and they took him into this meeting room with like a massive portrait of Oliver Cromwell, because they were just like, oh yeah, Oliver Cromwell, he's a major figure in the history of the UK, and he didn't go around. So yeah, he went and what did he do in Ireland? It wasn't good, was it?
Oh, he slaughtered a lot of people.
Yeah, like major massacre stuff.
Yeah, military sort of campaigns. So most of it was soldiers, but there were also several civilian massacres under his sort of watch.
Yeah, okay.
That he sort of brushed off and was like, well, it was all military and some other people.
Yeah.
Sort of under his breath, kind of, and then several civilians, of course. There was this really famous church in Drogheda that I've been to. It's got someone's head in it, and I can't remember whose. But really important stuff. And Oliver Cromwell apparently used it as a stables while he was over there. That sort of shit, where it's just like, God, I hate the Catholics so much.
Yeah. We
it's
definitely
always the
got
Protestants. It's always the Protestants.
Just what you were telling us. We definitely got the religious conflict in this film, didn't we?
Yes.
But I mean, in this one, the king was a baddie, wasn't he?
Oh,
and
I liked him.
His mischievous Catholic wife,
trying
to sneak in there and
he was mischievous,
screw everything up.
Yeah.
I did also like him, though. I think that was part of what I liked about this film, is that it was clearly pointing out how awful a king Charles was, but it was painting him in quite a sympathetic light at the same time and making him seem really cool.
Yeah, I thought that as well. Alec Guinness was very likeable. He just seemed like he didn't really know what was going on at any point, and then he was just a bit stubborn about something, and then he got his head chopped off.
Yes. Yeah, and I found that quite interesting. It was like he wasn't deliberately a despot, like an evil, wicked dictator or anything. He just knew that he had the divine right to rule, and that that negotiating with anyone was below his status, and that anything that he did was right. And he just pursued that to the very end, just convinced that he hadn't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I found that quite engaging. Yes, I'm going to say I thought Alec Guinness did a really great job with the character.
Yeah.
It was very, very stagey the way he was, the way the whole thing was constructed, but he had a certain, not quite subtlety, but coolness that went with the character very well, and I liked that.
Yeah, there's a certain age a man crosses into where I stop seeing anything he does as sinister, which is on me. But
okay.
Aww.
Just when he's old, he's just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's so cute with his little crown and whatnot.
Yeah, his long hair and his walking stick and everything. He's very...
Little heels.
It's a sort of the dandy of his day, wasn't he? And I could listen to that accent all day.
Yeah, same.
This perfect, yeah.
Crisp.
Sort of Morningside Scottish. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And his first line was like, "I'm most seriously displeased."
I did remark, madam, with some distress that His Highness Prince Charles was absent from prayers this morning.
He was with me, my lord.
He did pray with you in your chapel?
Yes, my lord.
I am most displeased.
Yeah.
Timothy Dalton as well.
Yeah, who was he?
He was the young, sort of brash nephew, I think, who wanted to hold Birmingham and couldn't.
Wanted to hold... Oh, Bristol.
Bristol, yes.
Oh, yeah, fucking Prince Rupert.
Yeah.
'Tis a fair day for a fight. Where be the enemy?
My lords, I present my nephew, His Highness Prince Rupert, Count Palatine of the Rhine.
So, let us to action. For I do swear by this sword that within a week we will have severed every Roundhead from its shoulders.
Tally ho! Let the sport begin. Yeah, he was great. Just what an over the top. Yeah, excellent. I just wanted to be him. He was great.
I read that Alec Guinness was displeased about his behaviour on set, and he wrote about it in his memoirs, but I could find nothing else about it. So I guess I'll have to buy Alec Guinness's memoirs.
Need to get hold of his memoirs, yeah. Wonderful. Oh, Prince Rupert, you naughty boy. It was sort of like dodgy Shakespeare, wasn't it?
Yeah. Not quite the structure or depth of Shakespeare.
No.
Maybe.
But these big scenes telling a big history.
Yeah.
It was very Hollow Crown in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah, these people really falling apart. You could...
Like if ITV had made the Hollow Crown.
Like if ITV had made the Hollow Crown, yeah, absolutely.
It did sometimes seem a bit like a sort of BBC miniseries that had been strung together, which I liked.
See that.
I liked a lot.
But at the same time, it had... This was the weird thing, because parts of it, in so many ways, it was a real dog's breakfast of, like, terrible writing. But at the same time, the battle scenes had so many extras.
Yeah.
And they'd obviously put it was lavish spending, getting all those costumes, all those horses. Must have taken them forever.
Well, they really went for it.
Yeah. What they didn't decide to do was like teach them how to fall over as if they've died. Instead, just sort of have them march up and then just fall over with no sound effects to try to sort of make it sound like they're dying. No, they're just sort of they're dead now. Yeah.
Some incredibly poor quality drone footage because they thought, well, we need some aerial shots.
Yes. Well, but again, impressive because there weren't drones. They would have had to use a helicopter or a crane or a balloon to get those shots. Yeah. That's some serious work from what must have been like a terrible flop of a film. This was not like rushed out. This had an all-star cast. It had all this expense lavished on it. And in the end, it was just weirdos like me and Fernando who ended up enjoying it.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah, you enjoyed it, but in a sort of, I can't believe they did this sort of way.
Yeah.
Wait, why did people not like the film?
That was shit. No, I'm just kidding. It was good.
So I enjoyed it.
For me.
overacting, I think, was part of it.
That was the thing of the past, as in all films in the past overacted, so it wasn't any different from the
I don't like old films. So.
Yeah, and also we're not talking about like 1930, we're talking about 1970. Like this was after Lawrence of Arabia, The Sound of Music had come out. There was, I think about the films we've watched from the 1970s. Was this 5 years before Barry Lyndon came out?
I mean, wow.
This was after 2001: A Space Odyssey had come out. Like this was after people knew a bit more about how to make films. But in a way, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like a callback to a former way of filmmaking, and that I can't entirely hold that against them.
I do.
And I'm going to go one further, which is, so Fernando, as you quite rightly say, that was a thing from the past. This was an old film. And I'm going to say it's also about people from the past. And we know that people from that kind of period were a bit more florid in the way they communicated. This was the age of writing love poetry to people, and I believed it when Prince Rupert leapt down on the ground and begged his uncle to slay him on the spot because he was so ashamed. This kind of thing that was a little bit laughable because it was so over the top was also kind of brilliant.
I agree. I thought that certainly happened. That must have been how it happened.
Yeah. What I don't think is that it happened like with these three characters in the center of the room taking it in turns politely to let each other deliver
that's how it
a beautiful soliloquy. Maybe.
I thought it was just like a fly in the wall documentary.
Maybe it was. But yeah, I thought it was a bit more believable when you think about, certainly when you see like transcriptions of stuff that people said at the time, when you see letters that people wrote and speeches that people gave back then, they did have a bit more of this to them. And so if we laugh at it, we're partly laughing at reality.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a bit over the top. I'd like to mention. So we've established I was the only one who knew the king was going to get his head cut off, which is wonderful. And that's because I've been quite interested in this bit of history for quite a long time, and I've done some reading about it, and I've watched YouTube videos, and I've listened to podcasts and things. So I find it quite interesting, this idea that we, like, basically the UK became a republic for like 15 years, and then we just went back to having a king again. We kind of behaved for the rest of time as if it never happened. And when the same thing happened in France 100 years later, it totally changed the world. And there's something weird about that.
Yeah.
And this seemed to go some way towards explaining that, just how confused people were and how people were so anti King Charles, but were also they didn't quite believe that you could have an England that wasn't a monarchy. They didn't quite seem to realise that they could set up a republic. And
No, that's not true.
No?
Have you ever seen an England without a monarchy?
Well, I haven't.
Exactly. It doesn't exist.
Maybe it is impossible. It
is impossible.
Perhaps, as Richard Harris himself said, an England without a king is unthinkable.
Yeah, not only unthinkable, but impossible. Plain impossible.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it'll happen in my lifetime anyway.
Nor in the universe's lifetime.
You think England will be destroyed before we don't have a monarch? Well, it happened for 15 years. That's the interesting bit.
Except it didn't. King Charles II was in France.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, true.
He was simply not in at the time. Popped out for something. No king. And yet, again, it was we could compare it to the French Revolution, which was this Enlightenment thing where they were trying to do things in a more modern way, using science and philosophy and things to develop a better place. Whereas this rebellion that we've seen, this revolution, was led by Puritans who were kind of more aggressively religious and dogmatic than the monarchy had ever been. And that's a weird thing as well, that they kind of ended up setting up a new monarchy in all but name. Well, that was good. But sorry, what I wanted to say was that there were big bits of dialogue in here, or big like lots of phrases that were the exact phrase that is recorded as having been used. So some of these important scenes were kind of transcribed and written down, and these famous quotes appeared in the film, and they did quite a good job of pulling a lot of those out.
Yes.
Like
Can you
what?
give us an example?
Like basically all of the stuff in the courtroom. Please, you must tell me what authority brings me here to this trial, and I will answer for it.
The court expects an answer. First, I would know by what authority, I mean lawful authority, I am brought here and carried from place to place, and I know not what, and by what authority you presume to sit in judgment on me. Remember, I am your lawful king. Think well upon it.
And, large parts of that scene, and the guy shouting back at him, and him saying, "I see before me a power, but not a that there is no law by which a king can be tried. I do not recognise that." And the exact phrases were used. Another one was in. Do you remember when he burst into Parliament to demand the arrest of those 4 members of Parliament who were being treasonous?
Yes.
And the Speaker. So he says, "Mr. Speaker, where are these 4 men?" And he says, "I have neither eyes to see nor tongue to speak, except as this house direct me."
I see that the birds have flown. Mr. Speaker, where are these gentlemen?
May it please your majesty, I have neither eyes to see nor tongue to speak, except as this house gives me leave.
Basically saying, I'm governed by Parliament, not by the king, and I'm not telling you anything because Parliament doesn't want me to. And that quote is a sort of famous one that's gone down, and they used that exact quote in the film. Yeah, it's nice.
Cool.
What great quotes. Yeah, I did not know that. Thank you for telling us. Those are great.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Is this the origin of Black Rod?
Yeah, totally.
Is it?
So have you seen the state opening of Parliament?
I have seen it, yes.
Yeah. So you remember Black Rod, this man, or I think recently it's been a woman, with a black rod, walks from the House of Lords into the House of Commons and demands that all the members come and join them in the House of Lords for the Queen's speech. And they slam the door in his face. Just as he's about to arrive, someone from inside the house shouts, "Close the doors!" and they slam it, and he has to knock 3 times. And we saw the origin of that, which was the king or the king's men trying to get in and then slamming the door and barring it and then having to break their way in. It was just an interesting little tradition, and a lot of the sort of pomp and circumstance that we have around the UK government, I think, is a bit silly and a bit of a waste of time, or even a bit harmful. But some of the things they do during the state opening of Parliament, I think, are a really good little reminder that just little ways of saying, look, we've got this tradition to tell you that you're not in charge of us and we can do what we want. And I like that.
That's a nice bit of history right there.
Yeah.
I also thought during the arrest scene it was weird that they paused and let Oliver Cromwell start proposing new motions. Do you remember that? They came in, say, we're arresting these men and Oliver, and then he sort of starts shouting, propose that, I can't remember what he said.
Take him. Any action against any member of this house is a breach of privilege. And I move this house declares as public enemies any who lay hands upon its members.
I further move that any such action against this house be considered a crime against the people and treason against this nation.
I was like, just grab him. You're arresting him. You don't need to listen to him.
Yeah.
Grab the guy.
I wonder if that's because they knew they were outnumbered by the members in the house. But also I wonder if it was because this was a stage play.
They needed to let him have his...
need to let him get his 16 bars of iambic pentameter out before they could arrest him.
It occurred to me several times that it felt like grown men having a really good time just dressing up. Which I suppose is like most films, isn't it?
I think it was just them LARPing.
As it turns out, this was just every actor in the film was just part of one historical reenactment society, and they just let someone bring cameras in this time. I love laughing. I wonder if anyone's ever done laughing with an English Civil War theme.
Almost certainly.
Normally they're all like wizards and stuff.
Well, Americans love dressing up in like medieval English costume, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if this was a bit late for them. This wasn't merry old England with jousting and handsome maidens and that kind of thing. I expect there were a few handsome maidens.
Yeah, there was pretty much just one maiden in this film, wasn't there?
Yes, and that was the Queen, right?
Yeah. Well, Oliver's wife makes a show at the end.
She turns up briefly, doesn't she? Has a laugh with him.
Yeah.
While he's hysterically ranting about republicanism or something.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, tell me, do you see before you a king? This tired, sickening man, this country oaf, crude in speech and manner.
So I thought that this film was going to be the story of how the king lost actual political power and gave all its power to Parliament, which it turned out it didn't. It wasn't. But even though it wasn't, it did. I guess I did think, well, even though it did not lose all the power, well, the king did not lose all the power, it does show a king losing, well, I guess gradually losing its power, because how can you be a king and still negotiate with someone else's? And how can you be the king and still have to negotiate with Parliament? I think that the mere existence of Parliament shows that the king does not have like absolute power. But that's what I thought. That's one observation that I have about the film.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be that as well. But then he just dies.
It was a part of that story, I think. I mean, as they very pointedly told us at the end, things were never the same after that.
In 1658, he died. 3 years later, Charles, Prince of Wales, was crowned king, and the monarch sat once more upon the throne of England. But an England never to be the same again.
And the king was never as powerful, and then that loss of power gradually continued. So
the same can be said about the creation of Parliament, as in once you create Parliament, then the king was never the same. So
in a sense, though, Parliament sort of predated the king. The Anglo-Saxon, before England existed, Anglo-Saxon monarchs ruled with various different bodies, that be it a Witan or a parliament or an assembly, whatever, or a king's moot, and basically the king was expected to rule with the consent of the people, and even during the medieval period, he was sort of the head of the feudal system, where he was expected to to give over some amount of power to nobles, and it was. There was never absolute monarchy in England.
So, what are you saying is that an absolute monarchy is fake news? That it never happened?
That is fake news. You have been duped by the fake news media.
I knew it.
Sad, so sad. I'll be tweeting about it later.
There will always be a king in our heart on Twitter.
Do you not mean Truth Social?
Sorry, yeah, I'll be tweeting. I'll be truthing about it on Truth Social.
Wait, was there ever an absolute monarchy in Europe then?
In Europe, not quite. Yeah, it was getting close in some places. So, Louis XIV in France, who was described as the Sun King, that was because he was seen as just about all powerful. Even then, well, as we know, nobody has absolute power because anybody can just refuse to to do what they tell them to without. But yeah, even in political terms, there were very few monarchs who were just allowed to do whatever they want. I mean, the start of formalising that England went back to Magna Carta in 1215, long time ago, where the king was required to sign this document saying these are some things I'm not going to do, handing over some power to nobles and setting down things like you can't put someone to death without a fair trial first, these kinds of things. So yeah, it's been a long time since this stuff came in. But King Charles the First got a bit big for his boots.
Something about King John. The Magna Carta was King John, wasn't it? Yeah.
King John was seen as a really bad king, and he lost in a rebellion and was forced to sign this thing.
Is it his crown? Something about his crown to do with Charles III's coronation?
Oh, no. Charles III's coronation. No, I think... damn, I can't remember these things now. Some of the crown jewels that Charles III is going to be using today, this weekend, were made for Charles II, so just after this interregnum.
Oh, because Cromwell melted down the crowns.
Exactly.
Yeah, the crown jewels. Yeah, okay.
But there's some very old stuff that goes all the way back to Anglo-Saxon times. Like, I think they're going to put oil on his head with a coronation spoon, and that's Anglo-Saxon. It's like more than 1,000 years old.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you lost it?
Oh, fuck.
Because teaspoons go missing a lot, don't they?
Oh, they do. Oh, you find it's in some Tupperware or something, or it ended up in the bin. So we'll find it at a compost heap.
I was thinking that maybe beheading the king was an extreme solution. I thought, well, this was a little extreme. But then I also thought, well, what was the alternative? Maybe putting him in prison wouldn't have sufficed.
Yeah, I thought
extra,
that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I think while he's alive, it's going to be tough.
While he's alive and refusing to negotiate, right? There'll always be a load of people who will fight to free him, and I don't know.
You got the sense that he didn't want to behead him. He wasn't gunning
I'd like to know
from the
how
beginning.
realistic that was. I guess we'll never really know. But they certainly painted it, didn't they, as Cromwell was a reluctant rebel.
They all must have had mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, even those who wanted to kill him, we saw them saying, "Look, he's guilty, but there's no way that under the rule of law we can put a king to death." And that was an interesting one.
So in the film, when the Court of Justice passes sentence and I guess the king realizes that he is going to be beheaded, it seemed to me that he was a little shocked. And I wonder if that actually happened in real life, and if anyone knows if that happened, if he was shocked that he was sentenced to death.
I think it was true that he he demanded to be allowed to speak, and he wasn't allowed, and he was sort of dragged out. But it's quite good. You can read the sort of primary sources have at least basically minutes from the meeting. Kind of saying everything that was said. It's quite a read, quite interesting.
It is quite. It does sound quite interesting, so I might actually read those. Yes.
I read in the National Portrait Gallery that he did put on 2 shirts because he was worried if he shivered from cold that they would taunt him for being afraid.
That's a classy move.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job, Alec.
Lovely old Alec. What else have we seen Alec in?
Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I think that's the only thing I've seen him in.
Yeah. I think I've seen him in Bridge on the River. Is he the one in Bridge on the River Kwai?
Oh, what's his name? That's David Niven.
That sounds right.
No. Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness in Bridge on the River Kwai.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell do I know?
David Niven's always playing officers. That's what he does.
Yeah, you're totally right. Good old Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he nailed this character. It was just a bit laughable, but also a bit brilliant.
Yeah, there was something, he did it well. He did some balance between someone who just doesn't really know what's going on and a tyrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah.
What about Lord Manchester? He stood out for me as well.
Lord Manchester, yeah. With his fancy cane.
This is my land.
I liked him sitting with his feet up in Parliament.
Much has been said in this House about the so-called iniquity of certain members being financially involved in national projects. Members have ascribed to this state of affairs dark and sinister motives. I say if we in Parliament cannot gain from ruling the country, there's really very little point in our being here at all.
Did anyone else think of Jacob Rees-Mogg?
I was just going to say that.
I so thought of Jacob Rees-Mogg, yeah.
Ooh, clear these peasants off of my land, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was awful. Yeah, what a traitor to the cause, eh?
Yeah.
Real bastard.
Who was your favourite?
Prince Rupert.
Me too, obviously. Wish he was in everything.
No, I'm saying that because it's funny, but no, Alec Guinness was the best. He did a really good job.
Yeah, he at least seemed like the character he was trying to play.
Yeah. Who would you most like to be? Fernando?
The Speaker of the Parliament.
Nice.
Good choice.
Yeah. He had a good seat.
Very nice. I'd love to be Speaker of the House of Commons.
I've already chosen to be Speaker of the House of Commons. And I gave you the job when the actual Speaker quit his job. I said, you should apply.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've left it too late.
That is true.
Well, give us your best order.
Order!
You're going for the Betty Boothroyd approach.
Hey! That was my best John Bercow.
The former Foreign Secretary doesn't seem to be very well versed in the traditions of the House of Commons and debate. Order! Order! I'm telling the Right Honourable Gentleman what the position is, and he will learn from me. When he seeks to intervene, he waits to hear whether the person on his or her feet is giving way. The Leader of the Opposition is not giving way, in which case, with the very greatest of respect, it's for the Right Honourable Gentleman to know his place, which is in his seat.
I don't require any assistance from a junior minister. He may have been Justice Secretary. He wasn't a very good one.
Ooh.
David Cameron! Mr. Peter Bone!
Yeah, the Speaker was actually lacking something now that I think about it.
Yeah. Sometimes art just can't come up to how theatrical and over-the-top reality is. Yeah, John Bercow should star in the remake.
Do you think there would be a remake? What would you do differently?
Oh,
The king would die.
All women. Sorry, what did you say, Fernando?
I said the king wouldn't die, and the king would actually prevail.
An alternate reality conclusion. And then what is just his unbroken line of Stuarts taking us to the present day?
Yes.
I like it.
People burst in with machine guns and gun down Cromwell.
Machine guns.
Yeah, go on. If we did recast it.
Oh, good.
Recast it with modern actors.
Yeah.
Right, so we've got John Bercow as the speaker.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But the rest of them have to be actors.
How modern? Because I think Brian Blessed would make a good Lord Manchester.
Yeah, he could still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to be... Yeah, just whoever we think would be best. Maybe not
It would
modern.
be his swan song.
Oh,
okay.
I was going to say, because it occurred to me several times that Peter O'Toole would have made a good Cromwell.
Interesting.
Okay.
Not that I think Richard Harris did a bad job. I think he's a very charismatic man, and I enjoyed his performance for many reasons. But yeah, let's think about modern. Who could do it? No, it'll probably be Brad.
Like
it would be Brad
Antonio
Pitt.
Banderas should be the king.
Antonio Banderas, yeah.
I think I know who should be Cromwell.
Who?
A little man called Michael Caine.
Yes.
I told you before, I will not be drawn into this bloody treason.
Don't forget me, God, if I forget you today. Brilliant.
Okay. Seriously, I'm going to suggest Tom Hiddleston.
But Tom Hiddleston. Oh, we're doing seriously. Tom Hiddleston for Cromwell.
Yeah. I was doing it seriously. Obviously, Sean Connery for Alec.
Yeah.
His part.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have been the fun one, wouldn't he? He's already got the accent.
What other? I can't think of any other actors. Google actors.
Right. Yeah, no, so I think Brian Blessed could actually do a good Lord Manchester.
Oh, Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington.
He made an amazing Macbeth.
I really didn't like him as
Did
Macbeth.
you not?
I thought
I
he was
loved
rubbish.
him. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, we saw that not long ago. Yeah, I thought, really disappointing because I liked him in everything else I've seen him in.
Okay, not Denzel. Oh, Harrison Ford and Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins is
Anthony
ancient now.
Hopkins could do... Yeah, but... he's too old. Who'd be a good King Charles?
Antonio Banderas.
Banderas.
Keanu Reeves. He could probably pull it off. This is good.
I reckon Russell Brand could be King Charles.
Yes.
Or Johnny Depp.
God.
He was basically Russell Brand in Pirates of the Caribbean, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. As Captain Jack Sparrow, as King Charles I.
Let's just fill it with people who've been cancelled. Who else can we get? Kevin Spacey for...
I forgot about Johnny Depp. Yeah, so Kevin Spacey can be Lord Manchester's
we were on his
mate.
side, did we not?
Whose side?
Johnny Depp. I got really confused.
Oh, no.
With all that.
No, No.
Oh, was he the bad
No,
one?
I think we don't like either of them now.
Oh, okay.
Depends if you're a misogynist. Oh.
Oh! Identity politics!
I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about it.
If you like Johnny Depp, you're not a proper feminist. Ah! I feel like it. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. I feel like I know who King Charles should be, and who would do a great job. And it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, yeah. Well done. That's good.
Yep.
That's
Nice.
really good.
Oh, because he did Richard III, didn't he?
You would take Benedict Cumberbatch over Russell Brand.
Yeah, for everything.
And Sean Connery.
I think we'll skip Sean Connery. No, because I'm going with the constraint of it has to be modern people. Like if you're doing it now,
Michael Sheen would be good as well. I think
he would. That's cheating, though, isn't it? Because he would just be amazing at anything he wants.
That's
who
true.
the fuck is Michael Sheen?
It's the same with Gary Oldman. Like whatever you give Gary Oldman,
that's true. It's a bit of
he's always good.
That's a cop out, isn't it?
Could we have who was the other one in Sherlock?
Yeah,
Martin
Oh,
Freeman.
what's his name?
Martin Freeman as Cromwell.
That's the pair, isn't it?
Yeah. We already know they've got good screen chemistry.
I don't think he can do it. I don't think he's bombastic enough.
I think the role could do with a touch of class and a touch of understatement.
I disagree. I want more. I would have been there. Give me more, Richard. You're not angry enough, Richard. Have another shot.
Well, I think we've done that one today.
Well done. Yeah. Now, which Pokemon do you think they all are? No,
oh, nice. Should we do that? When did we start doing which Pokemon they all are? Well, King Charles is Mr. Mime, and
that's quite good.
Cromwell is Graveler.
Do you think? I think King Charles might be. Oh no, I don't know.
Clefairy.
That's Lord Manchester. I think might be Clefairy.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's. So I think. Who were the Pokemon again?
No, he's Snorlax, isn't he?
Snorlax, yeah. I was going to say that. Yeah.
Blocking the route to democracy. Excellent. Right, do anyone have any other actual notes? We've been rambling for a while.
Got to make up the time, eh? Let me see. I did take actual notes, but I think I've said them all. Yeah, I have, unfortunately. Yeah, I only took 4 notes. Good film. I really enjoyed it. I got quite into
glad.
it. Like, sometimes not even ironically. I just thought this is good.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wanted you to... Yeah, if you felt that sometimes, that's enough for me.
Then it just
Claire,
tipped over the edge in the way that I enjoy the best.
Great. So good. It's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
And almost a little bit good again.
Yeah. The sweet spot.
Claire, any joy from this film, despite everything?
No.
No, it's just bad film.
Was there any gay tension?
It was interesting how often Cromwell and King Charles were actually in a scene together, which was almost never. There must have been like 3 or 4 scenes where they actually
I think I
were in
read
the same
that,
place,
yes.
and they must have spoken to each other once.
Yeah.
It's quite something. It's a bit like Batman and the Joker in The Dark Knight. Like it's maybe 2/3 of the way through the film before they're actually in a room together. And that was engaging somehow. It was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it really wasn't that. That was good. So when he chopped off his head...
Yes.
Oh.
Blood and semen are interchangeable. Is that what you're going to say? I don't think there was that much gay tension going on. There were some clearly gay-coded characters. Prince Rupert, not least.
Do you think Prince Rupert?
Do I think Prince Rupert?
Oh, interesting.
If he's not so in love with himself that he doesn't see anyone else.
Yeah, probably not much going on there. I was surprised by how genuinely affectionate he was towards his wife, because it seemed in the beginning that there was a lot of just frostiness there, but they were both genuinely a bit heartbroken to be separated.
Yeah, it seemed like a sort of absence makes the heart grow fonder type thing, and he was just desperate to get back to his simple life.
Yeah.
On the farm.
Oh no, I meant Alec Guinness and his wife.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Yeah, they seemed in love.
A genuine little passionate kiss goodbye before they just sort of chide each other.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be more of a big deal between Cromwell and the Queen, because they had a very charged stare at first, if you remember. She walks into a room and he's like gaping at her with like burning hatred. But I think that was just his hatred for Catholicism.
Yeah.
And specifically for the woman who was forcing it into the Church of England.
That man hates candlesticks.
He sure does.
He fucking hates candlesticks.
Does the king think that God can be bought with gold, trinkets, and gilded rubbish? I know only that I have been instructed. Has this king forgotten the Reformation? Mr. Cromwell, away with this popish idolatry! Did the Lord not say unto Moses, "Thou shalt not make unto thyself any graven image"? Now bow down to them? Has this king forgotten the Spanish Inquisition? Is the Roman Catholic Church to have a seat in Westminster?
Does he think that God can be bought with such jewels? Oh, God.
Oh, dear. That's enough Cromwell for you today, Michael. Oh, I also read that Richard Harris went and shouted in the mountains for like 2 hours to make his voice break.
Brilliant. I figured he'd just been up late the night before. He really sounded a wreck, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the name of God, did we cut the head off this king only to steal his crown? This hollow golden ring, this worthless trinket? Give it to a whore for the price of her bed. Or if you would find a head to fit it, let it adorn some court jester or some strolling player, that he may play your king, but not I.
Don't know how he kept going.
What a guy. Did he clean up his act? Did he get off the drink and stuff afterwards?
I think he did, yeah. I don't know, to be honest. I need to look into it more. But I imagine by Harry Potter, I mean, he does such a good job. And
yeah, he doesn't have the look of a sort of drunk Dumbledore.
Drunkledore.
Which would have fit quite well with the character. Just a bit more unhinged.
That's what Gambon went for.
Yeah, that's true.
I suppose so.
Just put your name in a goblet, Harry.
We've seen Richard Harris
yes.
in two other films.
Two other films,
pub, haven't we? Yes. What were you thinking of?
Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes, he was also in Mutiny on the Bounty. Do you remember?
Oh, of course.
He was one of the most sort of prominent mutineers.
Yeah.
And he had this similar kind of thing of this put upon, pained man rebelling against the king. Out of hatred but taking no joy in it. He seemed to play the same thing.
Similarly nuanced performance. You would. Oh, great film.
Glad you think so. I don't know which one you're talking about, but could have been any of them.
All of them at once. Presumably the next one that we're going to watch pretty soon.
Yes, have no fear. I don't have any more notes. That's enough. That's it from me.
Me too.
I don't have anything.
My final note would be the hats were a little bit different, but were great. I like the hats.
Oh, the Puritan hats.
Oh, was the king Puritan? Because I also liked his hat.
I know, his hats were good. Yeah. Yeah, the Puritan hats were the black ones they all had in Parliament. But, the king was a snappy dresser. He knew what he was doing.
Not as snappy as Rupert.
No, not quite. Rupert the Peacock. All in all, will we be... has this changed how we're going to look at the coronation on Saturday? Added some context, or...
Yeah.
It's certainly a glimmer of what could have been.
God save the king.
God save the king.
Oh, dear.
Haven't you heard, Laura? We all have to stand up and shout it at our TVs. Well, thank you all.
Thank you for picking it.
No problem. Hope it wasn't too treasonous for anyone. Sorry, Fernando.
It was too treasonous for me, but that's okay.
I'm glad. And I hope you all have a nice coronation day.
You too. Why not?
Thank you. I'll raise a piece of commemorative shortbread just for you.
There's a special Colin Caterpillar cake. It's got a crown.
Is there?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, I'm getting one. I'm not making this quiche that they want me to make.
Fucking quiche, honestly.
Yeah, he wants quiche.
Give me a whole roast pig.
Yeah, that's how we bring in a new monarchy. Maybe when the Republic comes, eh?
Maybe.
There'll be hog roast all round.
A Republic roast.
A Republic roast. Can't wait.
Shall I play the music?
Please.
Great.
Brilliant.
No, that's the national anthem.
Yeah. Oh, it just blows ours out of the water.
God, ours is shit. This is
Real
rousing,
dirge, isn't it? Yeah, it really makes you want to march off to war and kill some Austrians.